Harrisburg Stampede. Justin Coble with
I
us.
gotta change the freaking.
Oh, there it is.
Basically, they were
It's
playing
Major
Major League the real game. Yeah.
Oh, shit. There's the Hattie.
Welcome to episode 84 of the Not Another Sports Podcast. This is home of Sports Talk for the Average Joe. My name is Jason.
I'm David.
And tonight we are joined with a very special guest. Joining us from the Harrisburg Stampede, head coach Bernie Nowotarski. And let's quick go over some career highlights for Bernie here so you, the listener, can understand his credentials before we get started here with him. He's a former college All-American in football and track, played in the NFL for the Seattle Seahawks and the Detroit Lions, played for the Michigan Panthers and our beloved original USFL, assistant head coach, later head coach and a general manager of the Reading Express, head coach of the original Harrisburg Stampede, led them to a championship victory in 2013, was with the Lehigh Valley Steelhawks as a defensive coordinator. He was also with the Philadelphia Soul of the Arena Football League as the defensive back and special teams coach, and played an integral role in their back-to-back Arena Bowl championships in 2016 and 2017. And he's returning to the Stampede with a record of 106-21. Is that correct, Bernie?
Apparently, Justin says it's 109-22, but I'll take it.
All right.
Well, either way, it's hell of a record.
It's a lot of games.
Thank you very much for joining us tonight. I know it's a late night here for you.
My pleasure.
So what brought you back to the Stampede? What was it that made you want to come back to this reincarnation of the team?
A phone call from Justin, the owner, Justin Coble. We've been friends for many years and have gone through a whole lot together, good and bad. And he made the phone call late July and just asked if I would be interested. And I said, sure, let me know what we got to do. And it went from there.
Now, I will say Justin speaks very highly of you, and we think he's an amazing owner just from our interactions with him.
Very much so.
What are your thoughts going into this reincarnation?
Oh, I'm excited for it. The travel's not too bad. I think the league itself didn't go too far to start, as far as having, too many teams that, you got to get them settled and make sure they're all, on the right track to succeed. So, I mean, I'm looking forward to, getting back into it. At this stage and the things that I've done so far in the sport, I've said it to people before, I'm in this for the players. I have rings. I've got whatever that record is. None of that right now doesn't matter to me. I'm just here for this first group of kids that we're going to have. And I use the word kids just number one because of my age and how long I've done this. So to me, they're kids, but they're grown men, and I'm in it for them. I personally don't care if anyone pats me on the back, says, "Good job, coach." I'll take all the blame if it's a bad thing, but they can have all the glory for the positive things.
I mean, that's to me, that's leadership 101 is taking the hit when things don't go right and pushing and providing guidance for the people you're in charge of. That's awesome to hear. So, I mean, first off, you're talking to two guys who are already all in on what the Stampede is about from our interactions with Justin. We've talked about this on the show without anyone from the team being on. But I love that mindset you bring into it.
Well, it comes from him as well. I mean, Justin's awesome at it. The thing that anybody can take from Justin and being our owner, he's going to tell it to you exactly the way it is. There's not going to be, any chicanery. There's not going to be any hidden secrets. They're not going to be hidden closed door meetings. He's going to tell you right up front what he's thinking. He keeps it honest, And, that's what he wants from us. And that's the way, really, myself, him, Rick, my OC, and Jamie, my line coach, but we're all out of the same mold. Keep it straightforward, keep it honest, and keep it loyal.
That's what you need for, open communication goes a long way.
It's not always easy. It's not always fun. I mean, obviously, we're going to have to make cuts and do things that aren't fun. And we have a personnel director handling a lot of that with Milt. The sad part of any sport, and when there's pay involved, is the unfortunate part of having to tell somebody their dreams are done. And I mean, I've been through it. It's not fun. I've been cut as a player. I've been fired as a coach. We always say, a coach that hasn't been fired is waiting to be fired. So, we like to keep it open and honest. We recruit that way. We're not going to blow smoke up players' rear ends and promise them things we can't do. So we try and keep it, forefront of honesty and loyalty.
And I bet players
go ahead.
And I bet the players really love that how open everything is. That there's, like you said, there's nothing behind closed doors. Everything's out there. They're aware of what's going on with everything.
Well, I think if you start BSing people, you eventually forget what you've told somebody, and that BS can turn around to bite you in your own ass. So why not just be upfront and honest, and you don't have to worry about what you've said or what's been said at that point, because you were straightforward from the start.
Absolutely.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, that's what I mean, that's the coaches I've had in my life, just in youth sports, high school and whatnot. The ones I always played the best for were the ones who were honest and were fair in their criticisms and what you need to do and how you can improve. So I'm 100% in what you're saying. Let's talk about, I mean, you can talk about whatever you want. We'll just throw out some questions here and
I'll go right ahead. I'm pretty laid back. I don't talk much about myself, unless you ask a question about it. But I tell my players that the same thing. I don't know if you guys know it or not, and I openly talk about it, and only because I think it will help someone down the line. But I was diagnosed with a incurable cancer in 2012, and I know my whole perspective on life changed on that date, and I lightened up on certain things and eased up on certain things. And I tell my players, though, outright, I am laid back, but don't take laid back as a sign of weakness or I'm not going to get on you. I mean, I always tell them, if I get to the point where I'm yelling, you have obviously pushed me too far. But I'm not allowed. I'm not that type of coach. I'm not really a loud yelling coach. I like to, I'll get in a player's ear very calmly and ask him if he plans on performing at any point during this game. But you may have a couple verbs and adjectives in there at the same time. But I always tell, I am laid back, but whatever you guys want to ask and shoot, I'm open.
Well, I mean, I definitely have for sure a question that I have to ask, because we've talked about the original USFL a ton on this show. What was that like, being part of a team in that league when it started?
I can honestly tell you, it was the first time that I hated football.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
I'm not real. I don't know how I could have met someone this afternoon and forgot their names, but I don't care. I don't even know if he's alive. It doesn't make a difference to me. The head coach was Jim Stanley. Didn't know who he was before I got there, and I wished I didn't know him when I left. Worst head coach I've ever been associated with. I used to actually do things in practice to try and get let go. It was awful. It was a terrible experience. I actually couldn't wait to get out of Florida, where we were practicing.
Wow.
Well, that says something. I mean,
and I played football since I'm 5 years old. I mean, I absolutely love the game, but I mean, I was miserable there. And it's sad to say it, but I really was miserable.
but I mean that's a bad leadership can
Yeah.
affect performance.
Yeah, it was poor. It was really poorly done. I don't know about the rest of the teams in the league. I had to go there because I came out of Detroit and they had the rights to the players from that region.
Okay.
I would have much rather gone to Philly or even, no, I'm not even going to say Jersey because of who owned it, but.
I was going to say maybe Tampa, because Tampa had what was it? Burt Reynolds, and I can see the guy in my head. Blonde hair, glasses, who was the owner.
That would have worked. I could have stayed there.
I know they had the players all loved that franchise, that the ones who played there.
Yeah, I bet.
But I mean, the Philly Stars, they were perennial contenders in that league.
Yeah.
When it existed.
Yeah, I mean, it was decent football. I just was at the, like anything, I was at the wrong place at the wrong time, and I just did not enjoy that experience. But you learn from it.
Right, and that's what I was actually going to follow up and saying, like, just in my life experiences, when you're in the wrong place at the wrong time, you walk away learning something.
Yeah, you take the good with the bad, but at the end of the day, it is definitely a business, and sometimes your talent is overlooked and overshadowed by business decisions.
Now, since you said that they covered that region, like since you played for Detroit and came out of that region, and Michigan had that region, what all teams were in that region that Michigan had that rights to? Because it's just a curiosity on that one.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure. I mean, I would have to guess. Pretty much the Northern Division of the NFL. I mean, probably Minnesota, probably Green Bay, perhaps Chicago. Now, did Chicago have a team?
They did, yeah.
Yeah, so I wouldn't know Chicago, but I would imagine it would probably the Michigan, Minnesota area, but I can't tell you for exact regions that they had. All I know is my agent called me and said, you got to go to the Panthers, that they have the rights to you.
So that was an interesting phone call.
Let's turn to something. Well, let's move on to a little bit more positivity here. You've had quite some success in your career with the Express and the original Stampede and the Soul. Any interesting stories from your time with either of those teams? Any of those teams, I should say.
My Lord, I could write I've often talked about writing a book. That would be a couple chapters worth. I mean, first of all, I didn't do anything on my own. I mean, I had great assistants at all, both places for head job. And when I got to the Soul, to have Clint Ozell and Phil Bogle as the other two coaches, with Ron Jaworski and his 13 owners, including Marcus Colson, who was for a time my owner at Harrisburg. They were all great experiences, but I didn't do it alone. I mean, I can't think. I don't want to start running names off because I'd definitely forget people or leave someone out. But at all three of those, you're surrounded by people that do the rest and make it happen. Story-wise, I will tell you, we were at every one of those teams. I mean, constantly practical jokes and busting on each other. I mean, when you're doing a 16, 17, 18-hour bus ride, you got to come up with something to occupy your time.
Can imagine?
At Harrisburg and Reading, I forced the players to watch 300 times, as we constantly put it on as a movie to watch, and then I would follow that up with any given Sunday. But practical jokes, I know one time we were playing in West Virginia or somewhere down that way, and we ended up having to stay in a hotel in Kentucky. And we slipped into one of the coach's rooms before he got there and flipped the mattress and the box spring around and remade the bed to look like it was going. And when he ran in, he had a habit of jumping on the bed. So when he jumped on it, he went right through the box spring.
Oh.
I remember staying up a little too late one night and walking through the drive-through at McDonald's in West Virginia. And they were like, "Where's your car?" And we didn't have one, just the bus.
Gotta do what you gotta do.
That was after a game, so that was a couple cocktails in. There's tons of stories. I mean, real good ones. I mean, for me, the joy of it is when there's kids involved, and they're on the field and they get to be with the players, and you sign things for them. I will say when you're on the road, especially in the early years of the AIFA, whichever one it was, if you were on the road, boy, it was rough. Fans, you better have thick skin, because they beat you up left and right with comments and yelling and reaching at you on the field. The worst place we played, again, it was in West Virginia. They had to move our bench because they were throwing beer on us, chucking cups, food. I mean, they had to move our bench to the end zone where there were no seats. So
good Lord.
We had a great receiver in Reading, Carmelo Ocasio. He played at Indiana, PA when he was in college and had some looks. They had people, when we pulled our bus in, that were standing outside with signs, "Kill Ocasio." They're rough, boy. You get some radical fans. They love their teams. And then we're not an easy place to come in to play in either. But I'd have to write a book. I mean, people always ask me, and I've still really not gone public with it, on how, after winning the championship in Reading, do I get fired after 4 games of the next season? And I'm still not prepared to let that one loose. I think that's going to be in the book, but there are going to be a couple people are going to be pissed off at that, which I don't care.
What are they going to do to you?
I wouldn't blame you. Yeah, right.
That would be one of those. That would be one of those That would be one of those Deion Sanders remarks when he looks at the reporter and says, "Do you really think I give a crap of what you think about me?"
I mean, what are they going to do?
Yeah, it was. The funny part was I was hired by Harrisburg the next day when I got let go from Reading. They actually wanted to leave me go when we went to the championship game out in Wyoming. And I know if we lost, I would have got fired there. But we ended up beating Wyoming in the championship in 2009. It was the first time they had lost in their own building in like 3 or 4 years. So I knew they couldn't fire me after that. Then they wanted to fire me in the winter, and I got put into the Pennsylvania Football Hall of Fame. So then they wanted to use that to their advertising, that we have, a Hall of Fame coach. And then they just waited till we got into the season and it ended. But someday I'll let loose on exactly what took place. There was some backstabbing that went on, if you can't read between the lines on that.
That's sad to hear. But now, if you do write the book, you have a place to come and promote it.
Thank you.
Now I gotta say, when I do go into the office, where my office is located, is in the same building as the original Stampede's front office was. So I remember seeing the logos all around. Well, not all around, but where the headquarters was. I remember seeing the old logo, and they had the thing where you could get your schedule, and that was about it for the old Stampede when they were at Strawberry Square in Harrisburg.
Oh yeah, I remember that. Well, I made that drive every day for almost 6-7 years. That when I was there, except for the brief time, and again, I was hired, fired, and brought back, and then the league ended, and now I'm back for a third time. But yeah, I made that drive for almost 7 straight years, and would stay up there all day, then practice and drive home at midnight and turn around and do the same thing the next day.
I mean, that's commitment.
Build my family at that point too.
Oh, that's rough.
I do more fun.
I mean, I'm sure it was a heck of a drive for you. Now I'm in the north. David and I are both in the northern end of Dauphin County. So we're in the county where the team plays, but like I'm an hour to Harrisburg myself. So I can only imagine what your drive was on a daily basis for the team.
Yeah, it depends if I go. I don't know why, but I ended up on 78 all the time, and that's nothing but, you're dodging trucks.
Yes.
The whole way through.
For sure.
And occasionally I used to work my way back like 322 to 222. It all depended. Sometimes you just got tired of seeing the same road. That you change up a little, change the scenery a little bit. You know what though? I wouldn't trade any of the experiences I've had. I wouldn't trade it in. They've been, the highs, the lows, the fun, the agony, the pain, all the things you go through. I wouldn't give it up, for the world, because, at this level, obviously, no offense to any ownership ever. I mean, you're not going to make $1 million doing this. And again, like I said, you can pay me for it, which is, it helps, but I'm there for the players. This is something I love to do. And if you got to drive, you got to drive. It was nice when we were in Reading. My practice facility was 5 minutes from my house. Got to Harrisburg, and that went to an hour and a half. So, you got to do what you got to do. And Philly, I lived in. They gave us apartments. I would drive down on a Tuesday morning around 4 a.m, go to my office at our practice facility, and then stay in my apartment Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. If we were playing home on Saturday, I would drive home on Friday after walkthrough, see my kids, take care of the house. And then any of them that wanted to come to the game the next day, we turn around, drive back down, and then drive home. I'd be home on Sunday, Monday, and then I'd go back Tuesday. The only change for an away game is probably didn't get back till Saturday night, but I would always get home for 2 or 3 days and then had a place to stay. So, each situation's a little different, but it's fun. I laugh sometimes. I think about watching the movie A League of Their Own with Spalding running up and down through the aisles of the bus. And that's to me what. I had my sons with me a lot of times, and he'd go running down the aisle, and one of the guys in the back would yell, "Coach, get Spalding back in his seat." And now that kid's 6'3", playing football and lacrosse in college. I just watched his game today. He had a 3-goal, 3-assist day today. So,
That's awesome.
I love watching my
Good
kids
day.
go and play. Yeah, they're the highest scoring D3 school in the country right now.
Oh, wow.
I'm actually leaving for Buffalo on Wednesday morning. They're coming. That's the closest they get to here, to Pennsylvania. They're playing 2 games up in the Buffalo area on Wednesday and Friday. So I'm actually driving up to Buffalo Wednesday morning and staying there to watch them play 2 games.
Well, safe travels.
Yeah.
We have that 10-day break in our schedule where we play on one of those god awful nights, like a Thursday or Friday, and I think out in Iowa somewhere, and then we don't play again to the following Saturday. So he has a Wednesday game that I think I'm going to try and fly out, watch a game, and fly back the next day, be home for practice, and then ready to play on Saturday. So again, you do whatever you can at this level to try and make sure family's taken care of and that your team's taken care of.
Oh, yeah, family's important. That's for sure.
Yeah, and we tell our players that the same thing. We had a player that unfortunately messaged us this week that he can't attend camp because of a situation with his mother and illness. And my first thing to him was, God bless you, and family's always first. We're not going anywhere. Things work out. You give us a call, and we can take it from there. But you don't even have to don't even attempt to apologize to us. Your family is way, way more important. It always comes first.
I gotta be honest, I'd play for you at this point. So I mean, because you see a bigger picture than just the on-field aspect, and that speaks volumes to me.
Because a lot of coaches, they just see the field and that's it. They don't see anybody else as a human being, just as you're my player and that's all I see you as. You see everything as a realistic.
I still think, I did some high school coaching when I first, sort of stopped playing football. And, to me, I mean, these aren't high school kids, but you're still developing men. And, the game is fun. And, practice, you learn to be on time, you learn discipline, you learn structure. But I think it's our responsibility as coaches to not only coach, but to be mentors and, build character. Justin asked me on his show, I think 2 weeks ago, and I had to use it again today with somebody. One of my favorite lines or phrases is that a man's true character is shown when faced with adversity. And some people talk a lot, but don't do stuff. I don't always talk a lot. And to me, it's more important what I do when cameras and microphones aren't on me. I don't change. If I'm talking to you guys, I don't change if you called me on the phone and we were out having a beer, I'd talk the same way. With me, you get what you see. And again, I think a lot of that changed when I was diagnosed. I just lightened myself up because I was pretty high strung. I'm Polish and Italian, so I'm quite capable of heating up pretty quick. But yeah, I believe in building these men's confidence up. It always isn't wins and losses to me. I mean, of course we want to win. You want championships, but we do this. We recruit that way. I mean, I've been with Rick for a very long time, my offensive coordinator, and we both have the same mindset. I know over the years since 2005, when I got into the indoor business, I probably have either cut or didn't recruit some of probably the best players I could have had because of the luggage and baggage that they would have brought. And instead, my first year, my 09 team that won in Reading, we were comprised of almost all D2 and D3 kids. I had 12 kids from Berks County playing on the team that all were PSAC guys. They played at, all around the Pennsylvania State Conference. And I was told one time by another team's coach, you can't win with D2 players. I told him he was nuts. And we proved that wrong. I wanted kids that were coached. If I got a kid from the PSAC, I knew he was going to come into camp. I knew what kind of practice he was going to do. I know what kind of attitude he was going to have and what kind of person he was going to be. And like I said, I'm sure I've left go and not brought some superstars into camp just because I knew what it would bring and it wasn't going to be good. I want men with character. I want men with loyalty. I want men that have faith. And, I don't push religion, but I want them to believe in something. And, when we go on the road, I tell them, I don't want your pants hanging over your ass. I want your shirts tucked in. It's yes, sir, no, sir. Just common decency, manners. I just talked to my youngest son couple hours ago, he's down at a party in New Jersey, a birthday party or something. And I still said to him, use your manners before I said goodnight and I love you. He goes, yes, Dad. I'm like, well, I got to say it, use your manners. So that I am what you see or hear. And I'm not liked by everybody, and that's fine. Again, don't make it. That don't bother me.
It's not a popularity contest.
No, and it's kind of like the NASCAR guys. If nobody hates you, you ain't winning nothing.
That is true.
I dig the philosophy, though. I mean, a harmonious locker room is going to perform better than a locker room where there's strife because there's big personalities or baggage.
Yeah, and I don't mind big personalities. I told the guys at the second workout, if you're one of those rah-rah guys, have at it. Don't make it distractive, but I'm not a rah-rah guy. I'm not going to stand there after every play and yell something out, and all hyper. But there's a necessary, there's a spot for that. It's just not me. So I want it to be fun and lighthearted, but when we're at practice, you got an hour and a half to get, shit done. Let's go. Let's, boom, 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 boom. Let's wrap it up. I don't want to be there all night. As much as I love football, the only problem is every offensive coordinator that you ever work with says, all right, last play about 15 times because they want to keep running. It's like, all right, it's getting dark out. Let's go. And players look at me and go, Coach, we're indoors. The lights are on. I go, yeah, but it's still getting dark out. That's just my way of saying, all right, it's late. Let's go.
Street lights coming on. Got to go home.
That came from my high school coaching. And we used to practice on a field that didn't have lights. And my best friend was the head coach. And I used to look at him and go, hey, dude, it's getting dark out. We can get 10 more plays in, okay.
Sister with the flashlights going.
Mm-hmm. Cars, parents pulling up and turning the headlights on so you can see.
We almost did that last year for one of my daughter's softball games.
Well, I can tell you how long ago I played football. Then when I was at Kutztown, the practice field we used had one spotlight on it, and we used to. By the time it got dark, once the clocks changed, we would practice in about a 10 by 10 square because that was the only part that had light on it.
Oh, wow.
Again, we were like, what are we doing out here? But Kutztown's come a long way. So,
go ahead, David.
When you played in the NFL and the USFL, what changes did you have to make for yourself going into the indoor business? Like, you had all the rules from the NFL and all that, but what for yourself did you have to constantly mentally think to change to the indoor side?
Yeah, I know from the time that I stopped playing outdoor, and well, at some point my agent called me and said, hey, there's this indoor league starting, the AFL, the New York team really wants you, what do you think? And I looked at him. I won't drop the F-bomb on your guys' show, but I looked at him and said, what the F are you talking about? Because I had never heard of it. And he explained it to me, and I go, no, I'm not interested. That doesn't sound remotely like football or fun. I finally went and saw a game on TV, and I was like, man, I am the dumbest SOB in the world, because that is the coolest thing I have ever seen. And I'm thinking with my, at that time yet, my speed and size, I would have been playing in a if I'd have been the boundary side corner, that had been the easiest job I would have ever had. But it didn't take long for me to pick out the rules. more so. And now there's changes in every league, though. That's the difference. They keep trying to reinvent the wheel. In each league, there's always something being done that's different than the other league. Now, right now, our league is pretty close to original AFL rules, with a few exceptions, like if you can kick it through the goalpost, on the kickoff, you get 2 points. That isn't something that took place in the AFL. Plus, they had the net system that you had to return off the nets and get out of the end zone. And we still have that if you don't, if the kick is short and you have to, and you're returning it, if you don't get out of the end zone, it's a point, and then you start your offense on the 5. So there's rules that change all the time. We're pretty much AFL, so it wasn't a real big adjustment. From, like I said, if I would have played, I think it would have been a different story, because my adjustment coming out of college, going to the pros, was, at Kutztown, we were taught, don't tell anyone you're hurt, just keep playing. So when I got to Seattle, and again, now I ran a 4.34 40 for them. So they kept trying to put me to corner. Well, at Kutztown, I was a safety. Going from safety to corner is really difficult. Going from corner to safety is much easier. And then when I got to Detroit, I was at safety, but that don't get hurt thing kicked in. And that was the year that the owners locked us out, and it was the 9-week strike. It was down to me. And again, name-wise, I can't, I don't remember names, but this one I won't forget. Kid named Danny Wagner played at Kansas. He all of a sudden comes up on the last day with a hamstring pull. I don't have a hamstring pull. I get let go, and he stays, because in the NFL contract in 1982, you couldn't get let go from camp if you were injured. So when I was being let go, they said the second he steps back on the field, we're going to let him go and bring you back, so we have the right numbers. Next day, they go on strike for 9 weeks. So again, you just sort of, crap happens, but you do what you can. Seattle, the most interesting thing, the very first day of actual camp, very first one-on-one that I had to do, and as a corner, I had to cover Steve Largent. He ran an 8-yard out. I covered him pretty good, but Zorn threw the ball perfectly to him. He caught it, and I was right there, though, so I felt good about that. And I do have my one and only NFL interception in my trophy case.
Well, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's cool.
That's something you really don't want to just, let loose on that.
Here, hold on 1 second. My trophy case is across the room.
Oh, wow.
That is cool.
That is awesome.
That is very cool.
That's a hand-me-down to my boys.
That is really cool.
But so I have an interception in every league I ever played in.
Hey.
That's awesome, though.
Yeah,
not everyone can say that.
No.
Yeah, not bad for a 220-pound white boy from Reading. And I say that with the utmost respect for all the players.
Now, beyond growing the talent, what is the goal for this inaugural season?
Well, I think it's the same as every team I've been with. You've got to get the word out to the community that were there. You got to get them into the arena at some point, that they can finally see one of these games. Like I said, first time I saw a game live, I'm like, I can't believe I passed up on this. So if you can get them in the arena, I'm almost positive, you have them sold. You want to put a good product on the field. To me, again, it really is the community. You've got to get them involved. You got to get them there. You need the backing of the community, because I have been in a lot of towns where sometimes, like Wyoming, for instance, when we went out there and played, that was the only show in town. They had nothing else out there. And I mean, their average attendance in not a real big arena, but their average attendance was 7,000, 8,000 every game. And I think their arena only held about 8,000. So they literally had sellouts constantly. When I was at Reading, we had a couple sellouts of 7,000, and we averaged 4,600. I mean, my owners then would say, can't we get more people? You know, I used to have other owners say, you know, they would kill for 4,600 people. And I think Justin's, you know, vision, we're starting out in the small arena. It's intimate, if you want to use that word for an arena. It's loud. And visually, there's no bad seat. So if you can get people in the arena, I think they get sold on the product. And then we got to get our kids out into the communities and do things, you know, other than football. I don't care if it's parades, going into schools and reading with kids, to, you know, helping out at a baseball game. I don't care what it is. You know, go to the library and do something with the kids. Andre Reed is one of my good friends from college, and he runs for the boys and girls clubs around the country. It's Read with Reed. You know, I want our players to do things with kids. I want families to be happy to come in and meet players. I want them to mesh, because then it becomes like a big family to me. And it's something that people will say, man, I can't wait till next spring, and they come back. That's what I'm looking forward to. And we have a lot of nights set up, you know, for special things. I know we've got groups of kids coming in, and again, I've spent 3/4 of my life working with kids. And actually, on a sad note, I actually just got fired on Thursday from the job I've been doing the last 5 years because of mismanagement. They let a bunch of us go.
Oh, geez.
Because structurally, you know, can't. It wasn't our fault. You know, the people above us didn't know how to manage anything, but I've been working with kids almost 35, 40 years. So to me, kids coming in are extremely important.
And that was something Justin stressed when he was recently on, and that was one of the things that sold us on this version of the Stampede. Is he's all about the community. He wants to get the guys out there, wants to get the team out there, wants to build that foundation with the community. And he was talking about how working with the Boys and Girls Club and working with the Bethesda Mission and doing this and doing that. And that's what we as fans and supporters of minor league sports, that's what we believe in. We want to see the teams involved in the community. We want to see the teams make their presence felt in a way that is just beyond the on-field product. And that's why, you know, we are giving all of our support to the Stampede, because we believe in this vision as fans and as local podcasters.
Well, that's awesome. You know, and I appreciate it. Like I said, Justin told me about you guys, and then when you messaged me, you know, Justin originally said, do you have a problem? I said, I'll do whatever you want. I mean, if it's going to help get our name out there, like I said, you know, if you had Rick on or Jamie or our GM, and it was never me, that's fine. I'm not, you know, I just want us to get out there. I just want our name out, and, you know, we want to do it any way we can. And, you know, I want people to walk away from being there and say they had an experience that was really enjoyable, that their 6-year-old kid couldn't wait to get on the field afterwards and get an autograph from the player that was talking to him in between plays, you know, on the wall. So, you know, because that's, you know, out of all the sports, this is the most interactive, you know, sport that I've, you know, ever been a part of. I mean, there's music in between plays. There's guys that are leaning up against the wall on timeouts, and they're talking to the people in the first row. And, like I said, if you're at an away game, there's people calling you all sorts of names from the first row. But, it's still interactive. I mean, when I was with the Soul, we'd go down. We used to end up playing Washington like 3 times a year. And there was the same group of guys in the end zone, in their beer zone, that every time we'd end up down in that end zone, they were putting their glasses up. Coach, come on over and get a drink. And like, I wait till 0-0-0 on the board. I can't do it in the middle of the game. But, they got to the point where they knew our names and they're, yelling stuff out. And same thing happened up in Albany. They get to know you, and, it's some of it's, fun crap talking, and some of it's pretty ugly, but, you don't do this if you have thin skin. You got to take some shots here and there.
I can only imagine. You can only imagine what is actually being said to you is out there.
The worst one I ever had, I mean, it was in that championship game in Wyoming. Obviously, we were the Express, and our logo was a train, and one guy yelled out something like, I hope, and he used the F word. He said, I hope every one of your effing kids gets run over by that train.
Jeez.
That's
wow.
I mean, if you want to get after me, that's fine. But now you crossed over a line, and
wow.
If I happen to walk out of the arena at the end of the night and you're standing there, you may want to call security, because it's going down.
Understandable. As dad, understandable.
Wow.
Yeah, and that was one of the worst. That was one of the worst. And like I said, the night in West Virginia, they were tossing everything. I mean, we were coated with beer. It was one of those old arenas that they had floor seats that were like bleachers, and then only about 8-9 feet up was a second level that sat over the bleachers, literally over top of you, so they could lean over and look down and yell at you, but they just started dumping and then throwing.
Oh man.
And I had to stop the game. They got police involved, and they had to move us into the end zone. It was awful. But you look back at it, it wasn't that awful. I mean, it's crazy.
It's an experience.
It's definitely an experience.
Wow, that's crazy.
I could fill chapters up.
Yeah, I look forward to this book.
From childhood up, it'd be a good one.
Definitely be interesting reading.
Yeah, for some.
Interesting in different ways, I guess.
Yeah, there's some that may not be real happy to see their name involved.
But what are you going to do?
Yeah. Write another one to disclaim it.
There you go.
Write your own.
Give them something to do, I guess.
Yep. Or don't buy it, just for the fact you may not know what's in.
Well, I will say, I know we're keeping you up here, and you told us that you got to get up early, so I don't want to keep you on too long.
That's all right. You ask whatever you want.
I'm just very appreciative that you want to take the time to join us here tonight.
Yes.
No, I like it. It's fun. I like doing this stuff. I don't have to. I mean, like I said, if I never got the call to do it, I wouldn't be going into Justin and saying, "Oh, why don't everyone?" But if they want me, I'll do it. I'll do all these things all the time. They're fun for me. I'll get people that look at me and they'll say, "He always looks like he's pissed off." I'm really a light-hearted. I'm probably the biggest practical joker of all the group. But I'll get it all the time. Like I've had a player already say to me, like I laughed at something and he came up, he goes, "Coach, that's the first time I ever saw you smile." I'm like, "What are you talking about?" He goes, "You always look pissed off." I said, "I guess I have resting piss face. I don't know, but I said, I'm in a great mood. You're starting to piss me off, but." So, I mean, a lot of times people don't take the time to get to know me on a different level. I'm like I said, I'm actually really quiet. I am reserved and actually almost strangely shy at times. But when you're talking about football or something, my kids, I mean, I don't have any problems talking about that stuff. But a lot of people don't take the time to get to know the person. They just see a coach and they think, he's an asshole, or seems like a good guy, but I wouldn't want to hang out with him. Then I get the people who will send me a text or something and say, I don't know where you're going afterwards, but I'd like to be there. I'm like, come on, I'll buy the first one.
No, I have to say, when Justin sent the message earlier this week, I was busy with work, so I did feel really bad. I didn't respond right away, because I've been really busy in my current position at work, so it's hard for me to message when I need to with non-work things. Because David and I barely heard from each other at all this week because that's how busy we were. And he's my best friend for over 20 years.
Yeah. And normally we're always back and forth with something always. And this week was quiet just because
I was busy until Thursday. Then I had my 2-day severance. That was fun.
And I had to laugh when you said you're Irish and Polish because he's Polish. Italian and Polish. He's Polish and I'm Italian, so you fit right in.
Around here, we just call ourselves Polo Wops.
I've never heard that.
Polo Wops. That's great.
And again, no insult to anyone of the Italian faith or Polish faith. It's just Berks County. That's what we call each other.
Well, our families are from Schuylkill, so
yeah,
the Skooks.
Yep, that's where our families are from.
One of my best line coaches is from Schuylkill, up from that way, Kenny Miller.
Okay,
he's a Blue Mountain grad.
That's where my mom went to high school.
Yep, and I don't know. We worked together for years and years at the Berks Juvenile Detention Center, and then we coached together at Reading. We coached together at Harrisburg. He's still doing high school coaching and works with kids in Reading. But if you need a line coach, boy, the guy knows his stuff. Plus, he's Schuylkill County 100%.
And see, I know exactly what you're talking about with you adding anything else. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yep, he is a Skook 100%.
Oh, I love it.
Nothing wrong with that.
Nope.
I know we're planning on making a game. Hopefully, I'm sure we're trying to make the first game, ideally, hopefully there's no family issues or softball games that I have to be concerned about that day. But I know we plan on going to a game, the two of us. So I definitely look forward to seeing you in person when we come.
Hopefully you can go out definitely with us. You may want to bring the mic with you afterwards.
No, we wouldn't do that.
Or at least a recorder.
No, I would never violate the post-game aspect. That's not.
No, they're the fun. That's the fun time, win or lose. Because the sun's coming up the next day, regardless.
So what's the okay? I'll ask this. What's the drink of choice then post game? Is it a lager? Is it something else?
It depends what's in the building. My actual favorite beer at this moment is Corona Premier, but I'll jazz it up a little bit with a shot of Absolute Cintron in it. I've owned 2 bars before, and that was my house drink. You put a little lemon vodka in the brew. It doesn't change the taste, but you use that little extra punch. So if Miller Lite's on tap and they don't have
it gets you there.
I'll drink Miller Lite, but I tend to follow them up with shots of Rumplemans here and there. It's an old.
Okay.
Anyone that drinks Rumplemans was usually involved in the bar business in some way, shape, or form, because the rookie beveragers can't handle that.
My wife's family, they drink something called Schlivovitz.
I know what it is. I figured you guys were, what is it, Boilos?
I wanted to make Boilo this Christmas, and I didn't get to, but I wanted to. Yeah,
I know that's a Schuylkill County favorite.
My old neighbor makes those
with some pierogi and haluchkis.
Oh, pierogies, man, those are dangerous.
And
there's a reason why I'm a big guy.
I'm a foodie too. I like to cook. I have a smoker, a grill. I keep the meat flowing around here pretty good.
Yeah, I'm always one for a science experiment.
I actually wanted to be a master chef when I was growing up or in high school, but I couldn't find a football school that had a master chef program.
Okay.
So watch my Italian mom and grandmom cook, learned how to do that from them. You know what? I'll tell you one good story from growing up. Being recruited to go to college, University of Penn came to my school to recruit me. Loved my film, saw my grades. They were okay with them. Talked with me, did well, with the interview. And then they saw my SAT score, and the guy asked me if that was my math score. And I said, no, that's all of it. And that ended the University of Penn recruiting.
But I mean, who knows if you'd be here with the Stampede now if you'd gone there. So, I mean, things worked out the way they were supposed to for you.
Yeah. And the second time I took it, it wasn't much better. Together, combined, it made a decent score. Every time we had to take the SATs, it was on a Saturday morning at 6:00 after we played a Friday night game.
Yeah, that's not going to be good.
I just marked C down. C or B.
When in doubt, C.
Yeah, then I found out they only they only grade you for the ones that you actually answer. I should have left them all blank.
It would have been a way to do it.
I got 400 for my name. That would have been enough.
Hell, when taking those tests, my name didn't really fit in there.
You should have got extra credit.
Yeah. Extra credit for extra letters. Extra credit, extra letters.
Yeah, you go for 800 points.
Okay. Sorry, I had my my camera app froze. I apologize about that.
That's all right. I thought you guys were going to hear my grandson coming up the steps crying.
Oh, that's fine. That's
I have my 4 grandkids live with me.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. 13, 11, 2, and 7 months.
Oh, wow.
2-year-old.
My youngest is 4. And my oldest is 12. And my parents are a block and a half away, which thankfully right now we're dealing with issues with we had a leak in our bathroom. Our bathroom tub had a hairline crack in it that we never knew about. And it got to a point where it leaked down. The bathroom's right above where I sit. Yeah, so we're in the middle of waiting for an estimate to get that taken care of. So
hopefully we're not waiting for it to fall on your head.
No, actually the insurance sent restoration people over and there's a big hole in the ceiling above me. So
right.
Yeah, that's fun.
Yeah, the stuff you got to deal with at home. But yeah, my youngest is 17. All my girls are grown and doing their own thing, and then I have my 21-year-old in college.
I have twin daughters that are 12.
Oh, that must be a treat having twins.
Oh, it is. It's interesting.
Yeah,
it's definitely interesting.
They're just getting to the age where they'll really become somewhat of a nuisance for you.
Well, what's funny though is when they argue, it's arguing over like the smallest stuff. Like you just want to just grab a thing of popcorn, just sit back and like, all right, what's today's episode like?
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Well, a couple years, boys will enter into the mix, and then it becomes. I can tell you, my daughter that went to St. John's, she lives up in New York City yet and works in Manhattan. When she was a senior, she went to and she played lacrosse in high school. She went to the prom with a senior lacrosse player from another school. So when he got there, I pulled him aside and said, now, if you two do anything stupid and you need a ride, please call me. I would come and get you. I said, besides that, if my daughter calls me and you've done anything stupid to her, I said, that lacrosse stick you play with, I'm going to shove it up your rear sideways. And he looked at me.
Good morning.
He looked at me and said, she'll be fine, sir. I said, she better.
Good answer.
And I said that very calmly, the way I talk to a player. I just said, nothing better happened to my little girl.
It's like one of those things, like, good answer.
Yeah. You get protective of them. I'm protective of all my kids. They're protective of me as well.
Oh, yeah. I mean, yeah, when you're a dad, you're always protective. Doesn't matter how old your kids are. You're always going to be protective. How my dad, he's still always like that.
Yep.
It's just a dad thing. It's a father thing,
And I can tell when I meet some of my players, some of them gravitate to me a little differently. And through the course of the season, you find stuff out like, didn't have a father or father wasn't around. And again, that comes into that. They're more than players to me. I treat my players literally like they're my sons, which means, we can argue and I can bitch at you for something, but I can, finish bitching at you and hug you and tell you I love you real quick. And, it's over. It's not something you carry on, but I treat my players like my sons.
Yeah, it's one big family.
Yep. Going to be with them for the next 5-6 months. You got to figure out, some way to deal with it.
Oh, yeah.
Again, I'd play for you. So
I'm not much of a football player.
We might need you.
I'll try, but I'm not much of a football player. I'll tell you that.
That's all right. Just get people to the games. I'll be happy.
We're working on that.
We're trying.
Getting you guys out onto our listeners. Again, I appreciate you taking time to come on.
Yes,
and
gratefully.
I look forward to meeting you in person at one of the games and shaking your hand. And
for sure, I'll probably do the Tommy Boy. Friends don't shake hands; they hug.
That's such a great
if you
movie.
do that, I'd be prepared at least.
So I probably, honestly, if you didn't say that to us and you did that, I would probably lose control, just laughing hysterically.
Yeah, if you haven't, I'm a movie buff. I
love Tommy Boy.
Between movies and Seinfeld stuff, I live my life by requoting half the stuff they do.
Our movie that we quote a lot, it was Slapshot.
Yeah, that's a good one. The Hanson brothers.
What's funny about you saying Slapshot was when Bernie, you were talking about the fans at the other arenas. My first thought was, it sounds like Slapshot.
When I was with Reading, we played in Johnstown in that arena. That's where that was from. So, the first thing I did when I walked in that arena, I'm like, we're the Hanson brothers. And my guys, kids looked at me like, what the F are you talking about? I said, you're telling me you didn't watch Slapshot? I said, now you know what movie's coming on the bus next trip.
That's such a great movie.
I think that's one of those movies that whatever sport you're playing, if you're in a situation similar to that, you're going to identify with some of it.
Oh my God. Yeah. That and Semi-Pro.
I've never seen that, but I've heard great things about it.
I've seen parts of it.
It's just, both of those movies are, shots are at minor league professional sports and the stuff you do to survive at it. I told the last time I did an interview, I forget 2 or 3 weeks ago, someone said, what was the weirdest thing that you've ever done with indoor football? And I traded a box of footballs for a player. And we were playing in Erie, so I took the box and brought the player back with me. Someone said, how'd you get him? I said, I traded him a box of balls. Wasn't quite a washing machine, but
Hey, whatever works.
But I traded him for a box of footballs.
Now, did you ever have any players bring their toys with them? Like in Slapshot? Any remote control cars?
No, unfortunately, the times have changed. The point. The only thing these kids bring with them is their game units, their controllers and PS to 48. I don't know, whatever those things are. I don't play video games. The only video game I play on my iPad is Golf Clash.
Oh, I've played that. That's fun. I'm not even gonna lie about it. I like that.
The other once the control panels went to more than a joystick with like 7 buttons and clickers, and I was out. Too confusing. Yeah, I watch my kids. They're like, I just wanted one little remote control, one knob.
So at the Atari back in the day.
I was going to say, when I was a kid, our first video game that my parents bought us was an Atari, and all it was a ball that went back and forth, and you had to take a screen and put it on the TV to static cling to the TV, and that was it. That was if you wanted to change the game, you took it off and you put a different static on. That was the original Atari. So it was Pong or follow the trail to get out, and tennis. But they were all just different screens. You had to stick to your TV. That just showed my age. I just turned 64 last week, so.
My dad turns that in October this year.
Yeah, God bless him.
That's funny.
And my doesn't matter. She doesn't listen to this anyway. My mom's not entirely thrilled that he's going to be coaching basketball again next year. So.
Yeah, I thought when the AFL shut down, I thought I was done. And my kids, I got offered a bunch of jobs over the last 5 years. They just weren't conducive to leaving home for 6 or 7 months to be out in the middle of Bumblef somewhere. I had dogs at home, and with Philly, I could get back and forth. It was a good deal. And my kids, especially my 2 boys, are like, Dad, you got to go back to coaching. You got to go back to coaching. It was like, one was in Columbus, and I'm like, I can't drive to Columbus, Ohio, and come home every weekend. I said, I'm going to be gone for 6 or 7 months then. Well, just go. And then when Justin called this, both of them were thrilled. So I thought I was done, but we'll make another run at it.
I have, based on everything Justin has said and what you've said tonight, I think win, lose, or draw, I think this team's going to do really good things on both on the field and off the field. I think there's a lot of really good people involved.
And that's the thing. I mean, at the end of the day, and I said it earlier, of course you want to win. And the goal is always to win a game and win a championship. But, at the end of the day, 5-5, 2-7, it's still your team. It's still your hometown team, and it's still your community. If we're 2-7, that doesn't mean our players are going to hide from the community. They're still going to go out and do things and be a part of it. And then, as coaches, we're going to regroup and do what we can to come back with a better product the next year and the next year. But you're still, like I said, at the end of the day, it's not always what your record reflects. Did we represent the team well? Did we do things in the community that mattered? Did we make a difference in someone's life? Did we, help an organization accomplish something they hadn't done before? So there's way, way more going on than, that 2.5-hour game in the arena. And I need players that want to buy into that. If they don't buy into doing that, then they won't be playing for us.
Yeah, it's what you need. You need that commitment.
Yeah, I don't want to have to tell a player it's mandatory to go to a school and read to sixth graders or fifth graders. I want to say, hey, I need 5 guys to go to this elementary tomorrow, and I need 5 guys to go to this elementary tomorrow, and I should see 25 hands go up, not 5.
Yeah.
So I don't want to make things mandatory. It's part of what we do. It's part of the contract you signed to be with us. You're going to do things outside of practice and football that deal with schools and organizations and companies and just good old folks of the area.
Well, not just that. You read to a kid, and that kid gets to come see you play, and you interact with them not just at school, but also on the field.
Yep.
And then there's that connection right there, and then that kid now just, he just fell in love with football 100 times.
Yep. So when the next home game is, that kid's at home pulling on daddy's shirt. Daddy, let's go to the Stampede. Let's go to the Stampede. Let's go to, and after the 50th time, he's all right. I'll take you to the friggin' Stampede game. So.
And then you brought Dad in. Now Dad gets sucked in by the play on the field, and then Dad's going to go to work and tell his buddy, who's going to tell his buddy, and
it's a domino effect.
The farm show, from what I understand, is not a dry facility, so there are beverages to be had, and food to be eaten, and players to enjoy watching. So it's the whole night's an experience. It's just not a football game. It's supposed to be fun.
Okay, I have to ask this because you're a foodie. Have you actually gone to the actual Pennsylvania farm show itself?
Oh yeah, yes, absolutely.
Okay.
I will let you know that the last time I was coaching in Harrisburg, I don't know if it was 2012. No, it was a championship year, 2013. I had to do a grape stomping competition against John Ritchie at the farm show.
Okay.
And I beat John Ritchie in grape stomping.
That's awesome.
So, yeah, and when I was in school, I went to Exeter, which is down here in Reading. We made trips. That was a field trip at certain grades that would always go out to the farm show. So yeah, okay. I was very familiar with it. In fact, that same year, remember the show with those guys down in Louisiana that catch alligators?
Oh, where they were like noodling or whatever it was.
No, that's
fishing. That's fishing.
That's catfishing, where they reach in the hole. It was the gator.
You're not noodling a gator.
Yeah, no, you'll come up a little short on your arm.
Just a little.
There was a show where they were alligator hunters, and it was a father and son group. They were at the farm show as well at a table, and I have a picture of them. I took a game ball up, and the 3 of us took a picture together. So we invited them to come into the game as well. So yeah, I've been to the farm show plenty of times. I've seen the butter sculpture, and I've had the milkshake. So I've hit all the good stands. Beans, Durfer, fries, isn't that it?
Yeah, when I go, I always get the fried mozzarella. When they have the bacon stand, I get bacon because I'm fat.
Yes, you're big boned.
Yeah, sure. That's what we'll say.
That's what Cartman says.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. David has thankfully seen me at my skinniest and my fattest, so he's been here for the whole journey.
And of course, sometimes I don't help with some of the food I make when it comes over.
Oh yeah, David makes all kinds of good stuff.
I made buffalo meatballs the one time.
Nice.
Oh, those are really
I'm all
good.
for whatever people make. I'll try anything.
That's what I tell my kids. If you tried it, okay. If you say you don't like it, I know you tried it.
Yep. Now, what I did find out is, again, at my house, I wasn't making 2 dinners. What I made was, that's what we're eating. We're not making a separate sheet of chicken fingers because that's the only thing you eat. So my girls would sit at the table and I'd say, you ain't getting up till you finish whatever. Well, they didn't realize when I was putting other stuff away, they were putting their hand down underneath the table and feeding the dog with it. So I'd go back and their plate was empty. I'd say, okay, girls, good job. They told me, when they were 18, by the way, Dad, we used to feed the dog, not eat the vegetables. I'm like, thanks for telling me now.
Well, that explains why the farts were so smelly from the dog.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's funny.
Anything else you want to talk about here tonight?
You wouldn't like my political talk, so we'll stay away from that.
We do keep this pretty political free, actually. This is a reprieve from everyone from that is how we look
Absolutely.
at our
show. That can strain people all sorts of different ways.
Yeah, I hate politics, so it's one of those things where we just try to stay away because that's what you hear in the news. So we just try to.
I wouldn't bring up politics.
It's your.
No, I'm good. Whatever. Like I said,
okay.
I'm good. I can't think anything. I'm just excited to get things started, and hopefully we have again, I'm just looking forward to good turnouts, and again, hopefully we can get the community involved and get people there and get the word spread, and then let it spread another one, like the old shampoo commercial. You tell your friend, they tell 2 friends, they tell 4 friends, they tell 8 friends, and before you know it, you've got a whole group of friends coming. I've actually got a couple groups from Reading that want to come up and watch games because they know I'm coaching. So
there you go.
Great.
I mean, it's only an hour drive, depending again which way you go, but either way, I'm looking forward to it. I can't wait for it to start.
Yeah, neither can we.
We look forward to being there. Like I said, I look forward to shaking your hand and meeting you in person.
Even
same
giving
with Justin.
a hug.
We can do that too. I'm secure. I'm secure.
I'm very secure.
But thank you, Bernie, for taking some time out of your personal life to
talk
to
us.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely, anytime.
Well, thank you again so much.
Yes, thank you.
No problem. My pleasure. You guys are great.
Oh, thank you. We do our best.
That's all we can do.
Now I'll drink my nightly glass of Berks County Crack, which is known as Icy Tea, which I don't know if you guys get out that way.
We get Gears. And
yeah,
Swiss.
Gears is normally the big one out here.
Yeah, I'll have to bring you a gallon of Icy Tea. You won't know what hit you.
Okay, I'm down with trying it.
Like I said, when its nickname is Berks County Crack, it's. If you say that to a Berks County, do you drink Berks County Crack? They'll say, "Oh, you have Icy Tea."
Walking into the store and that's how you ask for it.
No, you can't miss it. It's a big orange label. It's from Clover Farms. So
I haven't seen it out here.
Yeah, it probably doesn't come out that far. That's local to us. And then sometimes Sheetz and Wawa will carry it, but not often. They have their own brands.
Yeah.
You guys still have Sheetz and Wawas there, though.
Well, we have Sheetz. Wawas are showing up soon.
Yes.
Okay.
Sheetz are everywhere. Wawa's not so much.
Royal Farms, are they out there? Is it moving up?
No, that's more in York County.
Yeah.
We have a Rudders. That's about it. And a Dolphin.
Oh, yeah, Rudders.
I will say Royal Farms has some amazing fried chicken.
Yeah, I was going to say Rudders food is a thumbs down for me.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So, all right, boys. I'm going to hit the trail.
Sounds
thank you
good.
again.
Thank you.
Right. No problem. We'll see you soon.
Have a good night.
See you.
All right.
Bye. All right. Welcome back to the show. We hope you enjoyed that interview with Bernie from the head coach of the Harrisburg Stampede. I enjoy his philosophy on coaching and life. I love that he sees more than just one aspect of the game. He sees the whole thing. He sees the person. He sees the player. And,
He's
you know,
not
I wasn't
just
kidding when I said I would play. Not that I mean I literally would go on the field and play for him right now, but like he is someone who, as a former athlete, we can say, I guess you can say, he is someone I think I would learn from, no matter what the sport would be, just based on his philosophies as a coach. I think, and he shares the same mindset that Justin does.
making everything community based and not just team, just community, not just what
Right.
they, expanding all out. I mean, he has the look of not just player coach but player coach community, which
And I would say,
not a lot of coaches have. They just have, okay, I'm the coach, you're the player, here we are. But
I was going to add to
he's
that,
looking
like,
he's looking at everything outside of that.
there's like that mentor aspect and how
Mhm.
he talks about his relationship with the players. And, you know, coaching's one thing, mentoring's another. And mentoring is reaching them on a different level. And, you know, players perform for people like that.
Oh
You know,
yeah.
people in everyday life, in work aspects, whatever, they perform for people who are mentors more than they do for people who just, this is what you do, this is how you have to do it. A mentor takes time and fosters growth and builds a bond, and you're more willing to go the extra mile for someone like that.
Absolutely.
So it does not surprise me that his record is 109 and 22 or 106 and 21. I took the record for the record. I took the record from the website, from hbstampede.com. So
Okay, let's just say either way you look at it,
it's a
no
hell
matter
of a
how
record.
no matter how you look at it, that is one hell of a record. It doesn't matter if it's 109 or 106, that's a hell of a record. I mean, it's
I loved his insight into his time as a player. I love the insight into his time as a coach. And how crazy is it? And I was gonna say this, but he didn't want. I didn't want to make him feel like he had to tell a story he didn't want to tell, because that's not our job. Our job is to create an open dialogue and build a relationship with our guests, and get to know them as a person. But man, how short-sighted was it of Reading, of that ownership? He took them
that
to the
was
promised land in that league, and had they lost, they probably were going to fire him.
but
Like, that's someone
winning,
who would have taken them.
and then winning and then what do you say, 4 games later done.
Yeah,
I mean, that's cold. Not
it's
even
short-sighted, I would say. It is short-sighted. And yeah, that's their only league championship.
Mhm.
They never won another one after that. So
No, their closest they had was the division in 11. That's it. That was their closest after that.
very, very short-sighted is what I would say.
And the fact that he has the most games coached as in Reading. 26 wins and 12 in Reading.
Right. 4-1 in the playoffs. Everyone after him didn't get near his record.
No, no, anything after him was the most was 11.
I would say that was short-sighted on the ownership's part. But their loss was Harrisburg's gain, and he's back with the team. And again, that was a fun conversation.
It just seems like winning follows him.
Well, and I think that's because he has the right mindset and philosophy.
With his mindset, winning follows him. I mean, think about it. The Express, 2 with the Philadelphia Soul,
the Stampede.
The Stampede in 13. I mean,
I will say this,
you know,
just and I'll be totally honest. Like, you know, the message chain that Justin added me to with him and Rick, the offensive coordinator, an assistant head coach. You know, you don't want to bother these guys, so I always keep my messages professional and short is how I would word it, because you don't know how busy they are, you don't know what they're doing, so you just want to keep it professional and short. So I'm sure you couldn't get a feel for him, and he probably couldn't get a feel for me in those messages. But I would absolutely say that he is definitely someone who, hands down, I would go have a beer with after a game.
Oh my God, yeah.
Like, if I didn't know him through this, like, he was just someone I knew off the street, like we hang out or we work together, I'd go have a beer with him in a heartbeat.
Oh my God, yeah.
Like, he's just a good person. A good-hearted person.
You know, it's like it's one of those guys like, so which bar you want to hit? You know?
I mean, a little inside baseball before we were talking on the air here. He was talking with us about hanging out at the local fire hall where he lives and having a few last night. Like, that's, you know, our buddy Dave is the chief in Williamstown. Cheap plug. He also hosts the 2216 podcast, which you can find wherever you get your podcasts. But I've gone to the Williamstown Fire Hall a few times now since he's been chief, and just him and I hung out for, you know, a night or something just to, you know, mellow out or get our minds off of something.
I can't remember the last time I was there.
No, you'll have to come up sometime. Sit with me and Dave, and he'll buy you a couple $2.50 Jack and Cokes.
I was gonna say, you know, the drinks there, like, you know, you take a 10, you come home with change.
I have a couple of freebies, actually. I have like 3 or 4 tokens from him.
Oh, jeez. Oh, that's funny.
But no, this was a fun interview. This was, you know, we laughed a lot, and I think that's a big thing for me is, you know, how you are as a person, your sense of humor, and I think, you know, everything checks off that, you know, Bernie's a great dude, and he is definitely someone I want to see succeed with the Stampede. And I think between him and Justin, I mean, they're the only people we've talked to personally from the team, but it definitely sounds like they're not the only ones with the mindset and the philosophy.
Think of this for a second. A lot of people, when they think of head coaches and owners, they just think money, money, money. That's all they want from us. But yet, listening from the people who have listened to us about, you know, with you know, the 2 times with Justin, and then soon to be this one, they're going to see a different team, and not just well, I just want you to come in so we could take your money. It's, we want to be out in the community first, and, you know, and you just come watch us.
They're building a future,
but they're building a relationship.
Foundation.
They're building a relationship with the community, which you don't see in a lot of areas.
Right.
And they're looking to build that relationship so they have that support, which is fantastic.
You know, I go back to what Justin said in his one interview with us. You know, they looked at what the Senators do, and they looked at what the Bears do, and how can they make that work for them. And both those teams are very involved in the community, and that's how you succeed here, especially, but I think in any city where you have minor league sports, you succeed in the community. It's not just about succeeding in the win and loss column. It's not just about succeeding in the scoreboard. It's not about bringing home the championship. It's how you build trust in the community. You build that fandom in the community.
Oh, yeah.
You could have 3 losing seasons in a row, but if you build that fandom in the community, they're going to show up and they're going to pay their money. You're going to be kept afloat, and they're going to support you. They're going to ride with you through the hard times, and they're going to celebrate with you in the good times.
Yeah.
And that's how you build longevity in the minor league sports business.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
What do
That's
we
for
know
sure.
though? I mean, we don't
Right.
run a team.
Yeah, we're just right on a few things that, like referencing a long time ago, the bubble works.
The bubble does work, man. I'm telling you.
Well, how many things that we actually said that came true?
We need a shirt. We need a shirt with like a half dome, like from the Simpsons film, where they where they put the half dome over Springfield to prevent anyone from coming in and coming out, and it's a half dome, and the bubble works or whatever. No one will buy it because it's dated, but I think it's hilarious.
Oh, that's funny.
Hashtag the bubble works.
There you go.
No, but seriously, this was a great interview, and I hope
It
everyone
was.
who listened enjoyed this. And I think just based on, where he played and the stories he told, I think you don't have to, again, like with Justin, I don't think you have to be from our area to get something from this interview.
No, you
I
don't.
think this is
to be,
someone who,
you don't have to be from Pennsylvania.
like,
still get away from it.
I know someone from the Michigan area who who's a diehard Lions fan who will probably enjoy parts of this interview because he's a diehard Lions fan. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's like these stories are more than just stories for our area. These are, and dare I say, not to get too philosophical here, because that's not normally what this show is. But I think you listen to Justin and you listen to Bernie, you can walk away with something good to take with you. Like, I made a note, and you can see in our show notes, a man's true character is shown when faced with adversity. That is a great piece of information, of knowledge.
It is. Yeah, it is. That's something huge. It's true.
I think that's a great quote, and that's something you can take with you and just keep it in the back of your pocket. But this was a good interview, great interview. I'm glad he was, he was accommodating to us because he told us off the air he had to get up at 4 a.m, and I'm like, oh shit. I'm like, oh man, I don't want to like, he's doing us the solid by coming on. So
yes,
that's why I said to him, I go, I don't want to keep you on too long because I know you have to do this tomorrow at like a ridiculous time.
Yeah.
I didn't want to put him out for helping us out. But yeah, we hope you enjoyed this episode. Send us your feedback. Let David know what you think or what you thought of this interview. And then when we get to a game, we will definitely report back to you on the show what it was like and what it was like meeting him in person and meeting Jay in person. I think that's going to be pretty cool.
It's gonna be great. It's gonna be great.
Well, we already plugged the 2216 podcast. The other ship is the Pop Culture podcast with a pro wrestling lean. You can find them wherever you get your podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, all that fun stuff. You've seen me drinking out of this throughout the night. It is the W Energy Drink Company. Go to w.gg, put in the code NASPOD at checkout, get your 10% off. Highly recommend what they sent me, which is the sampler. Test out the flavors, see what you like, and then get a full can when you're ready. But w.gg, NASPOD at checkout gets you 10% off. And if you get the sampler, you get the bottle too. So it's a good deal. I don't have anything ridiculous or funny to talk about today. Normally I'm off the rails by this point, but I'm laser sharp and focused right now. I was thirsty. Sorry, I needed it. That wasn't even intentional. I was thirsty.
Sure. So it's like a bad Wayne's World.
No. Oh, little yellow works powerful. And I too have a choice for the new generation. Dude, don't. I could quote Wayne's World all
I know you
day.
can.
Don't do this to me.
I'm not. You're
I've
the one
owned
who's
that
taking
movie
it
since
further.
I was like 9 years old. Do not give me the opportunity, because I'll go down this road and will never come back.
Well, it's like us with Slapshot. I mean, it's
Slapshot, Van Wilder. What other movies?
Caddyshack.
Caddyshack. Van Wilder is streaming somewhere. I think it's on Tubi right now.
Is it? 'Cause I haven't seen
Or
that
it's on
movie in
Freevee.
ages. I haven't seen that movie in ages.
I love that movie. Oh, I mean, that was guaranteed laughs when we would hang out back in the day.
You know what? Do I?
I'm sure you have it somewhere. And you probably still have the... Yeah, and it's the unrated version, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's the one we watched all the time.
Like, what's funny is I have this box of DVDs, and I'm like, wait a minute, I thought I saw that in there.
So now I know what you're watching.
Not anymore tonight. It's already it's already Sunday.
It's now Sunday. Yeah, I'll be editing this on Sunday.
In a
get
few
a few
hours.
hours sleep, and I'll edit it here. Well, with that, thank you for joining us for episode 84 of the None Other Sports Podcast. You can find us at the Linktree link in every episode. That'll take you to all of our sites. That'll take you to our TeePublic site, where you can get this. And I didn't think about saying anything about it when Bernie was on, because he played in the USFL, but this is our USFL parody hoodie. You can also get this on a t-shirt, on a mug, on stickers, on magnets. You can get the NASPOD NASCAR logo shirt. You can get the NASPOD NHL logo shirt. And I'm sure we'll have more down the road. We just got to think of some.
Pretty much.
But you can find those on teepublic.com. We're not going to make you buy them, but if you do, we greatly appreciate the fact that you're taking the time to do that. I know some people about stickers and magnets, because they've outright told me. But yeah, hit us up, check out our stuff. I gotta tell you, this is one of the comfiest hoodies I own. I wear this constantly. It is just comfortable and breathable. It's not too heavy, not too light, just outstandingly perfect. The Another Sports Podcast is available wherever you stream or download your podcast, whether it be Spotify, Apple Podcast, Podcast Addict, Audible, Amazon Music, Pandora, iHeartRadio. We are everywhere. We're live and we're nationwide, brother. So you can find us wherever you want. With that, don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review. My name's Jason.
I'm David.
And we'll talk with you next time.
Have a good one.